Okie dokie. Right. Oh.
Man.
Right, so we're in. Right, so we start out. Okay, we're here with Steve.
G'day.
We're trying to relaunch the podcast, let everybody listen in on a conversation. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Myself. Well, I'm Steve. I've been doing martial arts now since I started when I was about 9 years old, so quite a few years. Started up with karate. Didn't really like it. Went to the big school and they had a fantastic judo club there, so I started judo and wrestling. And just took on from there. I started doing everything from then. Just loved all martial arts. I could have spent my whole life doing martial arts.
So you started training from an early age?
Yes, very early. I kept getting beat up when I was a little kid. And it was the kids that beat me up was in the judo class at the big school. And first of all, I did jiu-jitsu because they went to jiu-jitsu, and they beat the crap out of me there as well. And
so what kind of? I don't want to allude your age, but what kind of year would this be?
That would be 1970. I don't know, 74, 75, something like that.
So you've been around the martial arts in its sort of. You probably see it double peaked.
The transition, yeah.
It was quite popular back then, right?
Massive. Well, of course, there's Bruce Lee and all the Bruce Lee films, and it was the water margin, loads of Chinese
there's
programs.
a lot of martial art
Kung
films.
Fu,
There's
David
a lot of it
Carradine.
going on there.
Yeah, it was massive.
So you've seen it peak back then, I guess, and then dip, and then
it went massive when Kung Fu come out. All the karate clubs changed to Kung Fu clubs overnight. I don't think the Kung Fu instructors actually ever done Kung Fu, but
they might have seen the series.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of it. That's a lot of it was.
Watched the series, shaved their head.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
Put on their orange pajamas and
sat meditating quite a while.
Switch it up a bit.
So when you say hype, when you say it was really big back then, I mean, like in comparison to sort of like what MMA is now, it's very much like the in thing to do.
Oh, sorry. Normally there's two of us on a podcast, or the video cast, whatever you want to call this, but we do have a special guest of Martin. Only because he drove. No, he didn't drive, Steve.
I didn't drive.
I thought you was going to drive. So rather than him standing around like a spare part, because as you can see, he's very off-putting. If he's off screen, it's going to off-put us, isn't it?
Yeah, off-put us, man. That voice, man. God, it scares me.
And for Martin to sort of stay quiet for a length of time is quite.
I'd have to go home.
I wouldn't know.
I'd have to go home.
I'd
sit in the toilet.
I'm not sure he's welcome at home just yet. So.
But anyway, the valid question.
That's who that is in the corner.
That's.
Lurking in the corner.
Lurking.
In the shadows.
Lurching in the corner.
No, lurking.
Like a merkin.
So you're saying in comparison?
So that's what I mean, because I don't really know a lot about how martial arts was back then. You know, in the hype of
the karate was massive in the 70s, and when Kung Fu came on, all the karate guys wanted to do Kung Fu,
right.
And a lot of them, as I say, had never actually done Kung Fu. I don't think the instructors, they saw a way of making a lot of money out of.
But in the way of like popularity, I know obviously you've got a lot of social media now that boosts it.
That's going to happen now, that the whole switch. A lot of schools, whatever they would be,
but
a lot of them have switched to MMA.
Yes, yeah.
And stuff like that. Now they're kind of switching maybe to jiu-jitsu.
Yes,
so that switch happens.
It changes, it chops and changes depending on who's winning the fights at the time, doesn't it?
Who's relevant.
Who's relevant. In them days, it wasn't really, you didn't have MMA. So no one really knew what was working and what wasn't working. I did loads of martial arts that was completely crap for actually fighting. And you don't know, when you're a youngster, you don't know until someone bops you on the nose. You ain't got a clue it doesn't work, have you?
So let's run it back. So you started with a little bit of karate first?
Yes.
When you was young?
Shotokan, yeah, when I was 7 or 8.
Did you do any belts in that? Or
I got up to second dan.
Oh, okay. So when you say, I've done a bit of karate.
Well, I've done a few years of it, yeah.
And who did you train? Because I have a black belt in
I trained with loads of people, but Inoda was probably the main man.
I have my black belt from a sense.
He was probably the main man then.
He had a beautiful school in like Great Russell Street, I think. In the centre of town.
He had loads of clubs.
I always just remember
big
the
clubbing.
floor was really like a glossy wooden floor.
Well, all the floors was glossy. Yeah, a big part of it was respect, and a big part of it was cleaning the dojo. It was a massive thing then. And
So you started off with karate. So how long would it take you? 3-4 years? You must have done it at least 3-4
I
years
was
to get a second dan.
15 when I got my second dan, and I did the. I went to a big. It was basically a brawl that was called the Hardest Man in London, and I went with a friend of mine from judo, and one of the guys fighting was one of the Wing Chun guys I used to train with.
So hold on. So at 15, you got your second dan at karate.
Yes.
So I'm assuming was you training other?
I was training other martial arts as well. I did Wing Chun for a couple of years as well, and one of the guys there was he was amazing, really fast hands, and I really thought he was like, well, to me he was like Bruce Lee. He was amazing, and I went to watch him fighting the hardest man in London. He fought this fat old boxer that kicked the crap out of him, and I'm expecting this guy to knock 7 barrels of shit out of this old boy, and the guy just annihilated him. Got him on the ground. He hit the wall on the ground. He was elbowing him and smacking him, just hammer fisting him.
How
it was
old
over.
were you this time?
I was 15, and it was kind of opened my eyes about what I was doing and whether it worked or not.
And what had you studied by
By
this time?
that time, I was doing
Wing Chun?
karate, Wing Chun, and I was doing judo at school, and also wrestling. I had a really good wrestling coach, and every Sunday I used to do boxing as well. I did 2 hours of boxing, and I loved the boxing. I really loved it, but my dad didn't want me to do boxing because the guys that used to go was pretty nasty guys, and it was really through my dad that I didn't really want to do. I wanted to do more boxing, but I didn't. I was really skinny as a kid, and I found the grappling side of things hard because all the fights I used to get into was with big guys, well, groups, and grappling just didn't work. I'd grab hold of someone, drop them down, throw them, and then someone else would kick me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And it was it took a long time. I started training with a guy I used to train with, I think. What was his name? Larry Artsell.
Yeah.
He used to come over to the UK, and he was one of the seminars that I actually went to, and I thought, wow, this is what I want to do.
Larry, I remember I trained with Larry only a couple of times. I think I took a seminar in California.
Yeah.
I trained with him in his garage one time. Man, couldn't understand a word he said.
No, you can't understand what he says, but he moves.
Like he mumbled, and I'm like, I have no idea what he's saying. And then I'm like, and then he just put his hands on me, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm so glad this guy's old. And like really not interested in, like, he's not that he can't fight.
No,
He's
not interested in
this.
this.
Can't be asked anymore.
But you just knew
But
when
I'm
he
so
touched
glad.
you.
I was so glad,
man.
man. Like I made sure I paid up front.
Yeah.
I didn't cause any trouble. You know what I mean? This guy, man, was scary.
He was
Presence, had a
Scary
presence.
touch.
Yeah.
in there, yeah.
Amazing guy.
He was a very good instructor. There was loads of.
Where was he from? Sorry.
He's States, mate.
Okay.
But
So Larry Hartzell was one. I think I have there may be a picture somewhere. But Larry Hartzell was one of Bruce Lee's students. So him and like in a but he was kind of like the the Vietnam vet and all that. He was like a bit crazy.
He was a little bit his head had gone and
yeah. So he would be like the grappler. He'd be the guy that the grappler of the JKD.
Okay.
That's kind of what he was. That was kind of his thing.
I liked his like crash boom bang style. The
he
style
was-
that I've adopted now. It's no bullshit.
In fact,
It's
funny that you would. How old would you be when you trained with Larry?
Oh bloody hell! 17, 18.
So it's funny how you've almost
emulated what he's done.
You've almost. I mean, apart from wearing like a white vest most of the time.
Yeah.
You've kind of got. You have when you start, because I never thought of that before, but now you say you train with him and that you really like this. You've kind of that's very much the same sort of game.
It's the same sort of game that I play. Yeah,
to the point, direct, get it done.
and get it done. Yeah.
Which is like sambo, which is why you've probably.
Well, I first done sambo.
Hang on, we're getting ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
Hang on. So 15.
Yes.
You've gone to this brawl, Battle of London.
Yes.
Hardest dude in London.
Yeah.
And you was training. You're training lots anyway.
I was training lots of martial arts.
So you was training all these different martial arts, judo, like all effective martial arts.
Yeah.
So what what was you thinking then when that happened?
Well, the thing was, as I say, my mate was a really good Wing Chun guy. And when I saw him get his ass kicked, I really looked at what we was actually doing in Wing Chun. And it's got a lot of good moves, but they've got to be adapted for the people you're fighting. It's the same as everything. Every martial art's got good and bad points. You just got to learn to what take out of the martial art, the good points and the bad points. And when you're first starting, you don't know what's good and what's bad. You don't know if if someone misses you and they clonk you with the elbow, you haven't got a clue until you've actually done it. You don't know.
So you was training, just in case you wonder where I went, and now I've got no shoes on. The lights went out there all the time in the gym, so
oh man,
I might have to nip off in a bit. Anyway, so you was training a lot of martial arts, but in their own elements.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Was there any point before this, like seeing this Wing Chun guy get beaten up? Was there any point in that training? Was you trying to combine it all, or was you just going?
No, not really. I was just going to their classes and trying to learn their classes.
Do that bit,
yeah,
do that
yeah.
bit, but you never really combined.
I never put it together. No.
Right. So what happens after the?
It was years after. As I say, when I met people like there was a guy called Jeff Glover he was a judo guy.
Yeah.
And he was a hard as nails, colour filler.
So when you see the Wing Chun guy get beaten up, did you stop doing the Wing Chun then? Or
I didn't stop straight away. The thing was, the guy that used to teach, he was amazing, and I still like some of the moves.
I love Wing Chun.
I love it, and people doing Wing Chun are still doing Wing Chun when they're 95 years old.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right being a great.
Yeah, but I think like for me, like I see, like even I remember rolling around in a car with Eric and him talking about the guys he used to train with.
Yeah.
And he's going, oh yeah, that guy's got a new hip. This guy's got a face plate. This guy, I'm like, oh my god. So I try not to like train crazy, stupid.
No.
I want to be out, even if I'm in a wheelchair at like 70 years
Still
old.
I
want you just to lift me out.
Yes.
Dump me on the mat and I'm all right.
That's
I'm good to go,
my exact
right?
policy, mate.
So I think sometimes when you say like the Wing Chun guys are still training, I just think maybe the training they do isn't. That's maybe why they've got to a point where, oh, I can train Wing Chun for 20 years, but I get into a fight and I'm done.
Oh yeah.
It's not been pressured.
No.
So I always remember a guy called Paul Vunak from California, another one, in the Santos guys, but always saying like you got like self-perfection and self-preservation.
Yes.
And you need to be able to, like, self-preservation being that you just, you know, if you took karate, for instance, self-preservation, because karate at one point was...
It was everything, yeah.
It was a deadly art.
Yeah,
you know? If you did karate, man, you were a tough guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and there still are some aspects and still pockets of karate that are tough. But if you go too far to the self-perfection and just stand around doing katas and wondering how your balance is and that's it, then it's never going to be an effective in a fight.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you're all the way the other way, protection, you're just going to get mangled, isn't it?
Well,
because you can't train like that.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's you've got to have that element of reality in your martial arts.
How have you found the balance? Because obviously, if you go too far, making it effective and work, you're beating your body up, aren't you?
It's a bit of both. When I was younger, I used to train too much. I used to overtrain all the time, and then I wonder why I was ill. I got hurt and injured quite a lot.
I mean, a lot of youngsters deal with that. Even like that, they train so much.
Yes.
Not that they're maybe getting hurt from the actual training, but their
body's can't take it. It's just not recovering.
They get sick.
Yeah, you get ill. I was ill all the time when I was younger. And when you work out, I was doing like 4 hours martial arts every day, and that was, and then like another 2 or 3 hours of actually training. So weight training, running. I used to do a lot of running, and I was overtraining every day. Working, I had manual jobs when I first left school. I was working on a farm, and I used to be absolutely knackered. I still used to go to training, and it's an addiction. You can't get out of it, can you? And you're addicted to get better and better. And I've always liked training with the really good guys. When I get someone beats me at something, I start analysing it and working out ways of why this happened and why that happened, and I'll keep going and going and going until I get over it, and I can stop them beat me that way. And it's
I find like for martial arts, it's very much a self-development.
it's all
journey,
it is a journey, isn't it? It never stops. And as you pick up injuries, you've got to do different things.
Yeah, I often compare it to spinning plates.
Yeah.
You'll be over here, this one's going good, then you go over there, that one's falling off.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not working now, I've got to be over there, so it's constant.
Exactly. There's always
sit down, have a cigarette and a cup of tea because some plates are going to fall off.
Well, it changes all the time. When I was younger, everything. My main fighting style was kicks. Now I can't kick to save my life because my back. If I do any heavy bag kicks or anything now, the day after I can't move. My back seizes up.
So you was 15, 17 years old. Between that age, and did you compete at all? How did you?
I used to do a lot of wrestling and judo.
Yeah.
I did a couple of karate competitions. I was doing well in the karate until it changed to a semi-contact.
Yeah.
And then I became useless overnight. I could not do semi-contact. I couldn't not punch someone. And it was and the worst thing is when someone would get a point and you're like, why did they get a point? It wouldn't have done nothing. And you're like, and I used to get so frustrated. That's the reason I gave up. I just I couldn't deal with it. And it was Shotokan as well. The stance in Shotokan was really, it was too low to be effective.
It's kind of a soft karate.
It's a soft style. I didn't really like it, and it wasn't until years later I trained with some. I used to go to a lot of seminars. I trained with a lot of really great guys, and I love some of the stuff people do. Some of the karate styles are fantastic. It's just there wasn't none where I lived, and I couldn't travel. I started doing kickboxing after I watched the Hard Man of London. And I used to go to a little kickboxing club in Crystal Palace, and that was the first couple of weeks there. I couldn't walk home. My legs was just shot to bits. I was getting kicked in the legs all the time. I remember getting on the train station. I couldn't walk down the steps. I had to hold on to the banisters and walk down the steps.
Poor old innocent Steve.
Oh, Jesus,
didn't do nothing wrong. Just a new guy, just come in. I didn't even kick anybody, and they just beat the shit out of me.
They beat the crap out of me,
man.
So what would happen then? So you would do your kickboxing. You'd still be competing. So you were still.
I was still doing judo, still doing
wrestling.
some wrestling, yeah.
So those two things were the constants.
They was a constant because when I was at school, it was massive. I was lucky. I did like 3 national champions at my school when I was younger, and because I started beating him quite early, and I used to do judo because my dad used to love it, and I wanted to do judo to be able to throw someone and finish it on the ground, whereas he liked the competition side of things, and I wasn't that bothered. And my instructors used to get mad because I used to, I'd go in a competition, and one of the guys would say you can only do taitoshi, so I'd be fighting some of the top guys, and I could only throw them with taitoshi.
Don't count.
I remember fighting a really good guy, and I got him in arm lock. And I let it go, and it got up, and he beat me on the. I walked out. I put my foot out of the area, and he beat me on a passivity. And my coach went absolutely nuts at me. And one of the guys, Gary Vaughan, was laughing because I was only allowed to do Osotogari on him. I got right through to the final, winning everything on Osotogari. And
did they call you Osotogari, Steve?
No. It's just, I used to have a.
That's terrible.
I used to
they call you like one throw, Steve.
Yeah, I just do.
That's Steve, only do one throw.
He's only got one throw, man.
But it's always
it's different every time.
Every comp it's different.
Changes. It's I used to get set in a way and.
So what age would you be at this time?
That'd be 17, 18, 19 really. That's
So you stopped all the boxing then?
I stopped.
You didn't do any.
I was still doing I did kickboxing until I was 19.
Right.
Then when I was 19, I just gave it up and I started going back to judo.
But
I didn't have time.
As far as the boxing though, like when you turned 18, and
I didn't. I didn't train again.
No.
I just didn't have time. Yeah. It was we had Yamashita at the Budokai, which was one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest players of all time. And I used to try and get up to the Budokai to train with him. And Kashiwazaki as well, he was the same. He was used to train at Budokai. And training with these guys was just phenomenal. It's like training with Z now. When I remember going on with this guy Kashiwazaki, and he was my weight at the time, and I went on with him, and he just tied me in knots. I just didn't seem to. I had no answers to his the way he played judo, and it was just amazing getting beat so easily, and everything he did hurt. Everything. He impressed me so much. I went out to live with him in Japan, and it was just to try and find out what he was doing to me.
So when would you go and live in Japan?
I went in Japan in when was that? 87, 88.
And you just decided I mean, back then what people I guess don't realise is back then is a different time.
It was
huge. I was just thinking the other day about like now we live in a world where if I don't have to work anything out.
Yeah.
Like if I can't remember a certain person who was in a certain film,
yes.
I don't have to. It doesn't have to bug me for a week. I could just get on my phone and look it up. If I want to buy something, I haven't got to remember or think or try and ask people where I got to go to buy such a thing.
Yeah.
Just put it in my phone.
Yeah.
And I can order it and it'll be at my house tomorrow, right? Or within reason it'll be there. So this is a different time. Like going to somewhere like for me, if I want to go to Japan,
different.
All I got to really worry about is I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I could just go to Japan. I could book it right now.
Yeah.
But back then,
we had to get
Google Translate as well.
Yeah.
Translate.
Yeah, to get a visa to start off with. You wasn't allowed in there. You was only allowed there for 3 months, but you could stay there for 3 months, fly out to Hong Kong, and stay there for 2 days and come back.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
I'm not going to do that in Thailand.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Oh, okay.
It's just crazy. And
so how old were you then? How old
I
were you when you went to Japan?
was a 22.
And you what you in judo? Black belt by then?
Third dan, yeah.
Third dan and black
Yeah,
belt.
yeah.
So now you just thought, right, I'm just going to go. Go. So you didn't think I'm going to go do a week out in Japan? You just went.
No, I went out originally for 6 months.
Did you go out on your own? Sorry.
Yes.
Did you just go out on your own? Yeah.
Was it like you have a scholarship or anything?
I applied for a job teaching English.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realise was where my actual dojo was, where I was teaching English was 140 miles away.
Bit of a run, that.
It's quite a run. Which in UK you wouldn't be able to do it, but there, because you got the bullet train, I used to get a train, and not once was I ever late. I got there, and within an hour and 20 minutes, I was there.
Wow.
Cool.
I mean, like, it's just after spending so much time in UK, stuck, and leaves on the road or any bloody excuse going.
Took you 2 hours to get here today, didn't it?
Yeah, it took me 2 hours. It's only 40 miles. It's just a different world, man.
So so day one in Japan, what was that like?
It was hard because my sensei, he was me Iaido sensei, so I used to do a lot of weapons. And he'd written down everything in Japanese, because all the signs are in Japanese. So I got to I got out the airport, and I'm looking for the train station. I found the train station.
Could you speak Japanese?
I spoke a little bit, but when I was...
But Japanese is like one of the hardest
It's one of the hardest languages, but it's like there's so many dialects.
Yeah.
When I was talking to guys over here in Japanese, the Japanese friends, they'd slow down and they'd talk like a European version of Japanese. I understood it, I could get going. When I went out to the country, because where I was out in the country, and I didn't understand a word they were saying, and I'm trying to slow them down. It was really hard. And the hardest thing was getting off the right train station, because everything's in Japanese. So I used to have these little cards with the actual kanji written on, and try and match it up. As I was getting to the train station, I'd match it up. Is that one? Yeah, this is the one. Get off, and then I'd have a little map drawn out, because obviously we didn't have phones in that then days.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like a whole different ballgame.
It was a whole different. Like, just trying to find dojos at times.
I mean, the only way you could probably explain it. I mean, even worse. If I took your phone off you, I'm going to send you to Japan. Go.
Yeah.
I mean, the trouble is now, even now, if you took the phone out of the equation, no one's got a phone.
No.
Not just you, no one.
Nobody.
Now go get yourself about.
Yep.
Most people wouldn't be able to do that in London.
No.
How do I get around? Well, just talk
true,
to people. Yeah, but none of them speak your language.
But it must have been such a passion, such a hunger for you to get better.
I really loved it.
Quite extreme.
Well, because he was such a brilliant guy, Kashiwazaki, and he's the guy that one of the guys that taught him Saito this guy was just phenomenal. He was probably he was younger, a little bit younger than I am now. And when you're like in your 20s, you think, "Oh, take it easy on him." And I remember fighting this guy Saito, and I was taking it easy on him, and I tripped him a couple of times. And Kashiwazaki shouted something at him, and this guy just went schizo, and he was burying me. He changed. He didn't just change A gear; he changed up about 5 gears.
Bipolar.
I had nothing. Yeah, I had nothing to bloody answer with it, and I wasn't used to the. When we do judo here, we do like an hour. At squad trainings, we used to do 4 hours. Over there, you do an hour's warm up, and then when you're fighting, you don't get a break. Soon as you finish, there's like 3 or 4 guys trying to grab you, and I was an idiot.
Especially the white guy as well. Especially like.
Oh yeah. When they went to show, this was Japanese art.
Right, back in the game.
Hey.
So we had a little
Technical hitch there.
technical hitch, as in the camera went off. But I haven't done one in ages, and we're not cooking it back up, have we? So we got to the point, I believe, where you were saying that you was in Japan and you was sparring with the big guys, the heavyweights and stuff, and you broke your collarbone.
I broke my collarbone, yeah.
And you was at the physio.
I was at physio. It was a physio centre, but there was nothing I could do. I'd broken it. There was basically I had to stop training, and I was devastated, to be honest. You'd been there 5 months? I'd been there 5 months, yeah, and it was I was doing really well, and to get a broken collarbone was devastating. I really didn't want to come back.
The broken finger, is it?
Oh no, you just can't. I couldn't move for it with it, man. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't use this arm at all, and it was frustrating. And
so you came back.
I came back.
Well, immediately you just come straight.
No, I stayed there for 2 weeks.
Right.
And it was just it's so expensive out there. It was like 5 times more expensive to live out there than it was here at the time.
Oh, right, jeez.
And
so how would you fund going to Japan?
I saved money. I saved money for 2 years. I saved as much money as I could. I saved about nearly 30 grand, which was a lot of money in them days.
Yeah.
Especially young as well, man.
And I was lucky because I was living at home.
Yeah,
I was working all the hours, and I was doing a lot of door work as well. So it was pretty easy. And I didn't have a mortgage or anything in them days, or kids. So
you flew back?
I flew back, went back, and I went straight back to my old job. And I gave up. I didn't do judo for about, 3 or 4 months, I suppose, until my shoulder had healed back up again. And then started doing a bit of weights and a bit of physio, and getting my shoulder back in. And it took. I was a bit of an idiot because I started training too soon, and put myself back again, and I made it worse for probably 2 months, 3 months. Instead of taking the time off and healing it properly, I tried to get stuck back in, and it didn't work. And that was it. I went back to judo and started doing judo. And
at this point, you was just doing judo?
I was just doing only judo at the time. No, I shut all the other martial arts. I used to go to taekwondo every now and then, and that was because I used to take my little sister, so I used to go and train with them guys. And they had a brilliant kicker there. He was world taekwondo champion a couple of times, little Korean guy, and he was phenomenal kicker, really good. And it was an eye opener just watching the way he does things. He could kick faster than I could react, which was quite a.
Because I guess for five 5 months you was in Japan,
I just did judo. I did judo, iaido, and Shrinji Kempo on a Sunday. And it's Shrinji Kempo is kind of like a violent version of judo, really.
Yeah.
It's got a few punches, kicks. It's a mixture of karate and judo and jiu-jitsu. And they practice on the wooden floor, which was really hard, getting thrown on the wooden floor, man. And it's your break falls had to be good. I never really learned, to be honest, I never learned break falls until I went to Japan, because we was always told to spin out of throws and do anything not to land on your back.
Yeah.
So we'd practice mainly spin outs and everything instead of break falls. And going to Japan, as I say, you're doing an hour and a half uchikomi and getting thrown for an hour and a half. And if you don't learn how to break fall perfect, you ain't getting up, man. You will break.
You won't fall, you will break.
So it was a big eye opener, man. And it's
would you go back? Did you go back to
I went
Japan?
back, I went back a couple of years after I was in the army. And it was,
okay. So you came back, you fixed your shoulder.
Yeah.
You would still continue training judo.
Yes.
And then where would the?
It all changed. When I went back to my job, and I got bored, to be honest. I wanted to do something different. And then a situation arose. I was working on doors at the time, and I had a bit of an altercation with a drug guy, and basically I was advised to disappear. And I ended up joining the army, getting out of the place, and that was it. Join the army, see the world.
Another adventure.
Another adventure, yeah.
There you go. So in the army, would you study arts, or would you train, or would you do anything?
I did the competitions. I did some competitions.
Because I know that the army have a judo team, right?
It is, yeah, but it's pretty
lame.
bad, to be honest. And I used to go to the competitions, but there wasn't no real competition. One of the guys, I was lucky. One of the guys that was my heroes when I was a kid, he used to still be in the army, and I ended up fighting him and beating him, which was, to be honest, I was a little bit sad after beating him. It's always a bit of a weird thing, beating your hero, but it was a big milestone, I suppose. And Stuart Travis, he was amazing judo guy, and really technical, really strong. And I fought him. When I fought him, I was like 10 kilos lighter than he was, and I really struggled. The first time we fought, he beat me, and then I fought him in the final of the Open, and I beat him. It's quite funny. I beat him quite easy at the final of it, but it's I think a lot of it was in my mind more than anything else. I really didn't want to beat him. I said he's the same guy I arm locked a few years earlier. I got him in perfect arm lock. Let him go because I was only allowed to do Osa Ogari.
So did you unlock him?
I didn't unlock him, no. I let him go, man.
It was a bit deflating. I can remember you telling me this story when you look up to someone and you kind of try and be like them, and then you beat them. It's
weird with the feeling you get when you beat them. It's just a weird feeling because they've been your hero for so many years, and he's still my hero now. It's a shame he's gone a bit off the rails, I think, now. And like a lot of the guys, when they get out of the competition, they put on 10 stone and
lose a bit of focus, maybe lose a bit of discipline.
Yeah. It's sad to see. That's I don't really know what else to say. I beat him. In the army, I was just mad on guns. I love guns. I was brought up with guns. My dad used to teach me to shoot from when I was 4 years old, 5 years old.
So how long would you be in the army for?
9 years.
9 years, that's right.
Yeah. And it was,
stint.
I didn't really like. I tried to get out after 6 years. I just didn't like it. All my friends, when they joined, they're like, "Oh yeah, come join the army. You train. You can do all your training for the Olympics." I joined. I was in there 6 months. Then went to Gulf War, the first Gulf War. My ass didn't touch the ground, man.
The Olympics was off.
The Olympics was off. The bloody everything was off, man. And it was just one conflict after another. Northern Ireland, Bosnia, Africa. There's a couple of Sierra Leone, and it's loads of crap. Everywhere was crap we was going. And it's another eye-opener as well, because it kind of killed my enthusiasm for martial arts, because you're seeing so much death and destruction. You can get a like an 8-9-year-old kid, just take someone out with a gun, and they need no training. It's just a real eye-opener. You see all the shit side of things. And for a while, I lost me marbles, to be honest. And I started going when I was in Kenya. I was living in Kenya with I was attached to in a base there, and I started doing. I used to go to a judo club there, and I'm looking at all these guys. The mats was a couple of you know the old coconut mats you used to have at school. They used to pull a lorry tarpaulin over it, so they had the lorry tarpaulin. Pulled it over, and there was a big sign on the side to say that they were saving for mats, and I think it was like 3,000 quid or something. I can't remember what it was, but looking at it, they'd raised like 100 quid or something. 100, I can't remember the Kenyan shillings what it was, but then an American guy I used to train with. He was from the bodyguard service for the embassy there, the American embassy, and. I started training with him. We used to go to this little, it was unlicensed boxing basically, and I got dragged into that. And basically, I said I'd donate the money to these guys to get new judo mats, and also a water pump. There was I was doing a bit of work for the water aid, and someone had nicked the water pump near the base where I was, and I got drawn into that. And well, basically, it was called unlicensed boxing. There wasn't much boxing going on. And I was a bit of an idiot. Being Marcus of Queensbury, and being all. I used to take my shoes off, and these guys would all wear army boots, and I'd definitely have been kicked with a boot. But fuck,
especially the boxing fight.
Yeah, the boxing fight. Let's kick over.
And there wasn't really. It wasn't quite what I expected, and I had some really good scraps. But it's a good way to
So how
see that
often would
works.
you do this?
I had 8 fights, so every like 2 weeks. It was when I could get off and not got. I used to have to get off without people knowing I was doing what I was doing. One time I had a really bad time with some of the guards came up, and we was watching. The American guy that used to come up with me, we was watching this fight, and the American, the British RSM came in, and he's looking at this, and he's recognised. He's come over to us, and he's, how the fuck why do they do this, tearing people apart? And I was fighting 2 fights later. I was trying to keep in the shadows, like hoping he'd shoot off.
Did they leave?
He did leave, yeah. But they knew what was happening. One of the guys was.
So did you raise the money for it?
Yes, I raised. Yeah, it was really funny. I raised the money, and then I got about, I don't know. I started feeling really funny, and I didn't realise I had malaria. And then one night I just went down, and I got carted off to Nairobi Hospital. Anyway, I was in Nairobi Hospital for a couple of weeks with malaria. And when I came out, I just lost so much weight, and I was knackered, to be honest. Came out, and after I suppose I hadn't done nothing for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I went to the judo club, and it was all boarded up. And with the running we raised, the guy had taken the money and he'd sodded off.
Oh, fuck's sake! Oh, fuck's sake!
Yeah. And when you think about it, it was only a couple of £1,000, like, but I suppose a lot out there. It's a lot of money, I suppose.
Judo mats, new house.
Yeah,
Judo mats, new house.
Yeah.
So where was that? That was Kenya.
I was in Kenya, yeah.
So how long was you?
I was there for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Or nearly 7 months, but yeah, it was, that was an eye opener as well. It's just, but you're seeing all the shitholes, because you're seeing all the shit side of things.
Yeah, well, you're there to try and fix things.
You're there to fix things, and we're teaching a lot of special forces guys, and you're it's all well, I don't know. you're doing jungle warfare and stuff
Yeah.
with different regiments and teaching them, and you're also trying to like keep in with the local residents, because there used to be a huge expat force out there, and then we had the President Moy elections, and we was there as well to take out. There was 13 of us, mind, and we were supposed to get rid of 2,000 expats if the riots started, and it was really funny. They sent 3 helicopters up, but sent the wrong rotors with the helicopters, so they couldn't use them. It's like a disaster movie. So we had this one helicopter, a 2-seater helicopter, one 4-tonner and about 6 Land Rovers to get rid of bloody 2,000 expats. And, and the worst thing was when the guards left, they took all our rounds. So we had no rounds for the weapons. We had all these 7.62 weapons, no bloody rounds for them. We only had 5.56 rounds. So it was a bit of a shambles, to be honest. But
you made it out alive.
I made it out alive, and a lot of others did as well. Yeah.
So Kenya. So then, where would you venture off after that? Because we don't want to take too much of your time today, and I want to get you back into the gym anyway, teach some more stuff, and I want to probably keep everyone in suspense and get you back in when we have your seminar. Do a part 2.
Yeah, certainly.
Of the podcast, but this is the story I always tell everybody about you. Yeah. So they go, "Oh, Steve, this is it." I say, well, I always get Steve to tell us the story about how he punched a shark in his nose whilst having a cup of tea.
No, that was when I was a kid. I was like, I think I was...
And then he says, I wasn't having a cup of tea.
You're being silly, mate. I didn't have a cup of tea.
I was 13.
That happened, right? Last time we were in Laws, that happened. I didn't have a cup of tea.
You're silly, I was in the water. Come on.
I was in the water, yeah. No, I was in judo competition in Malta, and we were staying with a family that was Mike and Agnes Upton, that are they scuba divers, and they teach scuba diving out there. But they had these people staying with them, Ron and Agnes Upton. Ron and Agnes Upton that was there, and Valerie Taylor was staying with them. And
that's got a bit dark. I don't like that.
Yeah, Valerie Taylor was staying with them, and I'd gone scuba diving the day before, and all it was, they gave us a regulator, put a tank on us, put your head underwater, can you breathe? Yeah, right, go on in. That was it, that was the training. Anyway,
you didn't want any more training. You didn't want any more training.
We've gone to this place called the Blue Grotto, and we've gone down, and straight away there's all these little blue sharks, and I was shitting myself, all these sharks diving about, and they was bumping, one of them bumped me on the head and it knocked my mask off, and I'm like this, trying to get this mask on, and I was shitting myself. And we got back out of it, and I'm telling this lady, Agnes Upton, this other girl that was with her, she used to doing all the filming for Jaws. She was making a film called Blue Water, White Death, and they was filming the Great Whites, which I didn't know was one of the worst places in the world, is just outside of Malta for the Great Whites. Anyway, the other thing was that the premiere of Jaws was on.
Basically, new mobile phones and Google can help you out a lot in life. I think that's the moral of Steve, isn't it?
So we've all gone in the cinema and we've all watched this film, Jaws. And I know nowadays it's crap, but when I still remember sitting there and the head rolling out of the boat and everyone jumping out their seat because everyone thought it was real. We didn't have all this bloody CGI and crap nowadays. And when we went to go scuba diving, I was the only one that went. None of the other kids wanted to go.
I was scared.
And, this woman, Valerie Taylor, she said, don't get scared. If anything comes near you, if they come near, just punch them on the nose. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, I'll lose me sodding arm if I smack her on the nose. Not only that, they're so fast and they're everywhere. Anyway, we've gone back down. We've gone back on the boat, gone down, and within minutes, all these sharks are about. And I don't know how many I smacked.
It wasn't even one. It was that loud.
It's just,
Oh my god.
Can't remember how many
I
I
don't know how many it was, and it was I was shitting myself. I was really shitting myself, man.
Just
And,
down, threw down with some wine.
I was trying to hide behind this Valerie Taylor, yeah. It's just, and the silly buggers are feeding them as well. And
What with you?
with me, I was behind them, and they're handing out all these bloody bits of fish and stuff from and I was absolutely bricking it. And yeah, it's not an experience I can say I liked. When I got out of the water, I didn't go back in for quite a while.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Steve, to have you here.
Oh, thanks, guys.
To chew a bit of the fat. And I know you got a plethora of stories to come, so we'll definitely get you back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Yeah, so